Hi guys! I hope that you're all managing okay in this really scary time. I wanted to show you how I've been using my planners recently, and I thought that it was time for a planner lineup video since the last one I did was at the beginning of January, and obviously a lot has changed since then. Interestingly, I haven't had as much of a change in the way I'm using my planners since going into lockdown. I think because I'm very lucky in that I have a job where I've been able to keep working from home. So I'm still using my work planner and I'm still using my personal planner, even though, you know, its functions are more limited because we're not going out anymore. But all of my other planners have stayed more or less intact in terms of function, but I think that there have been some changes since the last video, mostly additions. So as usual, I've divided my planners into 3 stacks, which are my core planners, my more niche planners, and my journals. So we'll go through them all in turn, starting with the core of my planning system. So let's move the other 2 stacks to the side for a while. And these planners are really the center of my entire planning system, even more specifically these 2. So we'll start with these. And first up is my Hobonichi Mega Weeks, which is my personal planner. It's in a Mumsy and Bub cover. Mumsy and Bub is a shop which I just found out about in the last few months, and I absolutely love it. I'll leave it linked down below. She's based in Australia and she makes a whole range of stunning vegan leather traveler's notebooks of all different sizes. So this is one of the Weeks covers and it fits the standard and the Mega Weeks, I think. So this is my Apple Green 2020 Mega Weeks. And I've just got some washi cutting cards and some Happy Planner sticky notes in here and some blotting paper. And I put some vellum in here, and I think that most of you have already seen this before. I do a bit of doodling just with pen in this, and as I usually do with these yearly overviews, I use them to mark the dates when I replace the ink in my fountain pen so that I can guess when I might be about to run out of ink. I used to use that so that I could see if I was going away on a trip that I would be able to replace the ink before going away, but obviously now that's not an issue, so I just mark it so that I can see roughly how long it takes between ink changes. This vertical yearly spread I use to keep track of everything to do with our dogs. So we have 3 dogs and it gets really complicated for me trying to remember when they're due their worm medicine, their flea medicine, when they have checkups, when their vaccinations are due, and so I've just written them all down in here, and then when they actually happen I can tick them off so that I don't feel as lost about that. I've also marked a couple of other things, like when we have to replace the filter in our washing machine or clean it, which I'm really bad at. So there's just a couple of things like that. And then I use the monthly as a tracker, mostly for medicine and when we've done things like change the sheets, and then I also sometimes do exercise tracking in here as well. And then I use it as an order tracker for everything that's not planner related. So my planner orders have a separate place where I track them that I'll show you in a minute. Then the weekly spread is the heart of the planning system, and I use this for marking down to-dos that are not work-related. So everything work-related goes in my Hobonichi cousin, which I'll show you next. And I also put all of my time-based appointments in here because I don't like to have time-based events in 2 different planners so that then there would be a risk of losing something. So I put them all in here so that they're only in one place. So this is really just for to-dos, and on the right I put down shopping lists and then things that I want to get done sometime during the week but that don't have a specific date. And then on the left I list day-specific to-dos, and I try to make it a little bit fun but not too much of a challenge. So I just use ink and I do like kind of little like very basic doodles, and a lot of it's just lettering and like kind of circly bouncy outlines to just kind of make it look a bit more fun, but it's not too time consuming. So that's what this week looks like. And then I also have daily spreads. So I use one 2-page spread per week, and I just write out the days of the week, and sometimes a small doodle if I feel like it. Sometimes, like this one, it was pretty basic, and then I just write out the daily lists as and when I need them. And then after that, so I've allocated like 100+ pages for that, and then after that I have just random lists. So, you know, packing lists, that was in the past, obviously, things to watch on TV, just kind of anything that's not planner related and not work related goes in here. I've also tried using this for journaling. So I have a separate journal, but sometimes I thought if I run out of, well, like if I've done the daily journaling in that journal, which I'll show you, and then I want to do a bit more journaling, then I can use this, but that hasn't really caught on so far. So that is my weeks. And now we go on to the Hobonichi Cousin. So the Cousin is my work planner, and this is really the absolute core of my planning system. This is the planner that if I could only have one planner, I would use this one, because work is kind of like the most complex area of my life, I guess, and I could easily slot in the other things into it and then just use a notebook for lists that were not work related or something. But so far I haven't done that because, you know, I like having more than one planner. So this yearly spread is empty at the moment because, as you can see, this is the spring Cousin, so I just changed into it a couple of weeks ago and it's pretty empty. But what I use this for is an index for the daily pages, because I use my daily pages for a mix of daily planning if I have a day that's particularly busy and any kind of work related notes. And as the year goes on, it gets harder and harder to find the various notes that I have made in the dailies, and so I'll use this as an index to the ones that I need to be able to come back to. Then I use the monthly spread as my forward planner. So I write down anything that I have to do over the course of the month, and then in here I write down everything that I need to do, my to-dos and my appointments for the coming weeks, and the current week I will put in the weekly spread. So this is my current week. Today's Sunday, and it's a little bit less filled in than usual because we've just had the first days of Passover, and so I took those off, and you can see that these first few days were quite busy, which is what a normal week would look like. So I only fill in the weekly spread usually on the Sunday before the upcoming week, sometimes on the Friday. So I haven't filled this in yet because I've had a couple of days off, but I would go back to this monthly spread and then copy in everything from this week and then cross those days off so that I know that that will be in my weekly spread, and then the rest of the month will be written down in here. And that's what I do for the rest of the year. So I've kind of copied in everything that I've got now, appointments and things for the upcoming months, and then as the week approaches I'll copy them into here. And then, like I said, for the daily spreads, I use them as a mixture of what I am currently working on. So anything like notes for a project, kind of long-term list, meeting notes, anything work-related, I'll put it in here. Not on the specific day necessarily, but I keep it within the same month. So if I have some extra days at the end of April, I'll just move over to May at the beginning of May and then keep those extra April days that I can then come back to and use if I need some extra pages. When I have a particularly busy day with a lot going on and it gets crowded in the weekly spread, I would then use the current day as a daily planner. So I only do that sometimes, as and when I need it, and the system works out really well and I love it. And this is actually my 6th year in a Cousin. And I'm planning to do a separate video where I kind of go through all of my previous 5 years worth of Cousins and sort of talk you through how the use of them has evolved. I'm still using this in more or less the same way that I did originally, but I think the first year using my Cousin, I was using it as my only planner, if you can imagine, until about halfway through the year when I started using a personal planner as well. I always use a pencil with this because I like to be able to erase things a lot, and I don't like crossing things out, and for pens I like using fountain pens. So This is my cousin. I got this planner from Amazon. It was from a seller from China, which seems to not be there anymore because I checked for this video and I couldn't find it. But it's a really cool cover, and I switch these covers out about once a week because I have a lot of different cousin covers. Okay, now we move on to the third planner at the heart of my planning system, and this is my home planner, also called the J-Hub. So this is a bound happy planner. It's the pastel rainbow horizontal design that they came out with in November, December. So it's a 2020 12-month planner. And I absolutely love this. And I'm really worried that they're not going to bring them out again next year because they didn't release any in their spring launch. And I feel like that's kind of a bad omen. And as a bound planner person, I'm always on the lookout for signs that a bound planner is not going to be renewed, because I feel like I haven't seen many of these being used on YouTube. So that's kind of a worry to me because I really like it. So I call it the J-Hub because this is where I write down everything that James needs to know about my work schedule, and also I write down like things for him to do, which he likes. So that's what we call it, but it's really also kind of a home planner. So as usual, I use this yearly spread to mark out when I've changed the ink in the fountain pen. And then this one is kind of more or less a duplicate of what I have in here in the yearly spread. I've written down when the dogs have their flea medicine, when they have their worm medicine, etc. And that's really just because I thought it would be good to have it in a place where James can see it as well as me. But this I always have on me. So if we actually go to the vet or something, then I would have it in here. And this one is just like a duplicate. So I like to try to avoid duplicating too much information in multiple planners and have each one have a separate purpose. But because this is a home planner, it's actually a combination of information that's in one of these two planners generally. And I just put it in here so that James has access to it as well, because, you know, he doesn't usually look at my planners. So I don't mind having it duplicated in here. Then the monthly section of this I use to record when we've done home related tasks. So mostly it's changing the sheets and like when we've actually given the dogs their medicine. Occasionally something else will go in here, like when we changed one of the charcoal filters in our water jug, that kind of thing. So it's purely for tracking. And then this is the real like center of the planner. And so it's kind of a combination of pretty planning and functional planning. So I do put stickers on, but they're mostly functional. And then sometimes if there's a lot of blank space, I'll go back and put an extra decorative sticker on just to fill up some of the space. But I don't usually write on the stickers, or actually we write on, it's mostly me, but we write on the paper itself. So it's sort of a mix between like just kind of messy writing and some functional stickers and some decorative stickers, and there isn't really an overall system to it, as in I don't do coordinated spreads for the week. I do those in a different planner, which I'll show you later. So it's a bit more random and whatever I just feel like looks good at the time. But I really like it. I think it looks happy. And the other thing about this planner that is really cool is that it's also the one where we have all of our Jewish calendar information. So you can see these stickers. These are from an amazing Etsy shop called Hadassah Levine, which I'll link down below. And she's UK based, and she makes really beautiful Jewish planner stickers so that you can make any planner, the planner of your choice can become your Jewish planner as well, which is super convenient. So I'll just show you a blank spread here. So I have Hebrew calendar stickers, so these show the dates on the Jewish calendar, and then they also list the Torah portion for that week. And I also have stickers that tell you when candlelighting time for Shabbat, the Sabbath is, and then when Shabbat goes out. So that's really great. These are some separate Hebrew alphabet stickers that I bought somewhere else, which I used for labeling the holiday. And then it also has things like, for those of you, if I have fellow Jewish planner addicts out there, the days of the Omer. So that's really cool. And so those things are all in this planner, so I know like when all of the you know, Jewish holiday related stuff is. And then I also got these stickers that mark the beginning of each Jewish month, so I really like that. So that is the home planner, and these three are really, like I said, the kind of center of my planning system. But then I also have another few planners which serve a more specific function. So this is my Fat Hobo. Some of you will be familiar with this, as I've been using it for a year and 3 months already. So this is a 5-year A5 Hobonichi Techo, and I started this as an experiment just to see what would happen if I covered it in stickers. So you can see this is the bottom, so this is like year 5, which hasn't been stickerated yet. If I turn it up to the top, ta-da! You can see how it has earned its nickname, the Fat Hobo. So this has all been completely covered in stickers. I use a fountain pen with this as well. This is a cover from So What Else Is New on Etsy, which I'll leave linked down below, and it's fantastic because this is the only cover that I've found that will fit this, even with its extreme fatness, as you can see here. This is just the standard A5 Hobonichi Leuchtturm cover, not a TN, it's like the perfect fit kind. And I've just decorated it with some vellum and stickers. It's all Happy Planner stickers. So here I mark off each month as it's gone by, so you can see I'm doing the same for 2020, and it goes until 2023. So I was relieved when I saw that I had managed to survive the first year, because that meant that it was as fat as it was going to get, and the rest of it is now just evening it up basically. So you can see this is the first 3 months of 2020. It's kind of increased in fatness down to here, down to the middle of the book, whereas here it's still only fat throughout the first year. So I'm really looking forward to 2023, when the whole thing will be nice and evenly chunky. But yeah, if you're curious about whether this works, it does work. I had to glue the spine because it started splitting at some point. Not the actual binding, which is vinyl and is it's holding up great, but some of the signatures started coming away, so I glued them and now they're okay. So the way that I use this, because as you can see, it's not actually necessary to have this planner. I'm just doing it for fun, so it's just kind of like a, you know, just a nice stickerating experiment. But it always bothers me if I have a planner that doesn't have a function. I like each planner to have a unique function, otherwise I just kind of stop using them. And so what I do with this one is I've decided to use it as my like daily dose of stickerating. So every day I will just take a couple of minutes to stickerate the next day and then write in my plans for that day. So this is today, and then I've written in tomorrow, and I can kind of compare this day a year ago with today, or the upcoming day, and that's really cool. So basically this serves a function of kind of giving me a small overview of what I'm going to be doing the next day, and also giving me a chance just to do a little bit of decorating with stickers, which makes me happy. And the fact that I get to do it every day means that it's like a homeopathic dose of stickerating. It doesn't take a lot of time, so I don't feel like I have to commit this massive session. It only takes a couple of minutes, but it just gives me a bit of a lift because I love decorating with stickers. And that way it kind of feels like it has its own unique purpose, even though I don't rely on this for actual information. I just give a very brief overview of what I'm planning to do the next day, a mix of work and personal things. And then it also kind of functions like a memory keeper, because when I go back through it, I see what I was doing that day the previous year, and it just is kind of, you know, like a nice, interesting, random mix of stuff. So that's how I'm using this. And this is a mermaid bow that I got with a shaker cover, which I'll show you in a minute, and I took it off that and put it on this because I thought that it fit this really well. So this is my Fat Hobo. Then I have my planner. So this is the mermaid cover that came with this bow originally. Now, the planner, some of you have already seen, and this is a cover that I got from an Etsy shop, which I will link down below. So it's this beautiful shaker cover with a kind of mermaid theme. And this is actually a TN cover that's designed for B6. And the planner itself is a Leuchtturm monthly planner, which is actually a B6 plus. So it's a little bit taller than a B6, but this just fits it. So you can see that it's just about kind of up to the edge there, and there's a little bit of overhang on the side, so it's actually perfect, which is great because not many B6 covers will fit this. So I got this at PlannerCon Europe 2019, which was almost a year ago. This is an embellishment that I got from Michael's on my last trip to the United States a few months ago, and then I've just decorated it with all kinds of planning and planner related stickers from the Happy Planner. This is a B6 TN jelly folder that I got from Catspresso Co. And then this is where I just keep my washi cutting cards and discount vouchers from Etsy shops. And the planner is really my haven for everything planner related. So this is another planner that I don't strictly speaking need, but because planning is basically my only hobby, I just really enjoy having a planner that's specifically dedicated to everything planner related. So it's kind of like a combination of planner and journal and list maker for everything that's to do with planners. So this is a video tracker where I track the videos that I've made. I started off by using it as a video planner, so I would write down when I was planning to make a video, and then that turned out to be totally unrealistic. So now I'm just going to use it as a tracker so that I can see when I actually did make videos. And then I use the monthly. So this is a monthly planner. So it has a year's worth of monthlies, and then it has dot grid note paper that's numbered, and it's perfect for me as a planner because I can write down everything planner related that I'm planning to do or that's going to happen in the monthlies, and that's all I need in terms of dated pages. So I note down things like the Erin Condren New Season launch day, which is happening on Tuesday. I'm not sure if this is just for teacher planners or the entire launch day, but I've seen some mentions of that on YouTube, so I put that in because I'm curious to see what it's like. And then I put in other things like I need to order some more Shabbat stickers from Hadassah Levine on Etsy. I have a Mumsy and Bub package which has been delayed in the post for quite a while, so I have to like keep chasing that. And then if I'm going to make a planner video. So basically this is what I keep track of here. And then I'll just decorate the current month at the beginning of the month with some planner related stickers. So you can see last month I wrote in, this was March, I was going to go to PlannerCon in San Francisco, and I was really looking forward to that, and then at the last minute I had to cancel because of coronavirus, and so that was that. And then here I keep a list of all of the orders that I have placed. This was over a number of months, so it's actually quite a lot of orders, but the way that I kind of try to keep track of how well I think I'm doing in managing like not to order too much stuff is I put a heart next to it when it arrives if I really like it, and that means that I'm like kind of being discerning enough in my head. Anyway, so then I have a mix of all kinds of different things like a current planner lineup, which is kind of fun because then I can look back and see what I'm still using and what's changed. A wish list, some more long form journaling, like if I'm not sure what I want to do with a particular planner, or just thoughts about planners, or something that I'm thinking of buying and I can't decide whether or not I want to. All of that kind of stuff. Ideas for what to do with unused planners. So it's really just a complete mix. And then I also tip in some things that I get in planner orders that I like. So this was my Ochitsuke cover that I got from Hobonichi, and I put this in because I wanted to keep it, and so this seemed like the perfect place for it. YouTube video ideas. This is my current list of things on order. And then these are covers that are suitable for use with this planner, so I remember which ones I can rotate in and out. And I've just pre-decorated some pages, and that's how I'm going to be using this for the rest of the year. So I absolutely love this, and it's just like when I look at this it just makes me happy because I know that everything here is just full of plannery goodness. There's nothing serious in here, it's all like just what I do for fun. And this is an acetate which I cut down. It was A4 size, it's from Catspresso Co, and I cut it down to kind of roughly B6 size, and so I use that as a bookmark in here because it's planner themed, so that's perfect. So that is my planner. And then I have the planner that I'm perhaps most proud of. This is something that I'm trying for the first time this year, which is a pretty planner where I plan out the spreads and make themed spreads every week. This is an Amy Tangerine collab with Archer and Olive. A5 weekly planner for 2020, and I absolutely love it. I bought this one in a moment of weakness because I didn't actually have an idea for what to do with it, but it turned out to be such a success. It's in a jelly cover from a shop that I'll link down below. And this is also just a happy place. Like, this is just for fun. So I use it as a planner, but it's really kind of, I guess, more of a memory keeper, although I generally write out the week's plans beforehand, but I really mostly use this just to flip back through and look at the spreads. So this is a vision board that she included at the beginning of the planner, and it has 6 different categories. Each one is a different color, and so I just put in some, you know, vision ideas. Each one is matching the color of the heading. And then you get a blank dot grid spread before the beginning of each month, and I use that just for like a kind of vision board for that month. So things I'm planning to do for that month. And then I use the monthly spread just to give a little bit of an overview of the month, and I decorate it in the same color as the heading. And then you can see the weekly spread. So this is what it looks like blank. It has a shared weekend, which is normally one of my deal breakers, but in this case I think it's absolutely worth it because it means that this is an A5 planner, but the columns are the perfect size to fit Happy Planner stickers. So they fit classic size Happy Planner stickers, so you can see here this fits absolutely perfectly, and they also fit the Erin Conran stickers, I believe. They're like at this standard size, and so I think it's absolutely worth it having the shared weekends, because it means that this is the first time that I've had a planner where I can use the columns as they are designed for Happy Planner stickers, for the classic vertical boxes, and they fit perfectly. So I think that's really cool. So each week I have a different theme, and the monthlies, like I said, I'll just do an overview of big events happening for that month, and I will color them in the same color stickers as the monthly layout is. And then each week I'll pick a different theme. So this one was like a sea theme. This was the first week where we switched over to online teaching at the university. It, you know, happened really suddenly and everything was cancelled, so I just put that in there because all of the expected meetings were cancelled. And then this was a coffee theme, so I put stay home and drink coffee. And then the next one was cake, so this was stay home and eat cake, because this was the week when we went into official lockdown in the UK. And this is the current week, so this is from the new Rainbow Dreams, I think it's called Rainbow Dreams sticker book, which is like one of my favorite sticker books ever. I absolutely love it. This is the soft geode sticker book. And then this was a copper rose gold theme that I did. And so I write down ideas for new spreads on a sticky note, and then I just put them in that week. And yeah, basically the plans in here are just a mix of everything. So it's like a mix of work and home and personal stuff. And again, it doesn't really matter so much if I put everything in here, because I'm not really using this as a practical planner. I'm just using it for fun. But I leave it open on a table, like on the living room table or on the table in my studio where I work throughout the week, and it just makes me happy to look at it. And then I like flipping through the completed spreads as well. And this is the first time that I've made themed spreads like this. So like this was a wildlife spread. This was a plant spread. Cake spread. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying this, and I absolutely love it. I hope that she brings out another one of these next year, because I don't know how I'd survive without my Amy Tangerine Pretty Planner. Then I have another kind of niche planner. This is a Stalogy B6 notebook, and I bought this because I had this Salty Katie B6 jelly cover, which I had bought for this, but because this is standard B6 size, the jelly cover, and this, as I mentioned, is a little bit bigger than standard B6, the jelly cover didn't fit, and I was so bummed. And so, being a planner addict, what did I do? I had to buy Stalogy so that I could use this jelly cover for something. So what I ended up using this for is a daily planner, and I really like it because it's undated, so I don't need a daily planner every day, so that's perfect because I don't have to stress about wasting days. And this was a freebie that came with a decal order, and I put it on here because I thought I started this in 2020. I started it at the beginning of January, and it will probably last a lot longer than a year because it's already April, and I was using it pretty regularly and up until the middle of February, and then I went away on a work trip in the middle of February, and when I came back I kind of fallen off the wagon a bit, and then I started using it a bit more sporadically, and for some reason then with all of the chaos of the virus and the lockdown I stopped using it, even though there's no logical reason for that, because I generally tend to use this when I'm at home. I don't take it out with me, so I would use it on days when I was working from home, and now I'm always working from home, so logically there's no reason why I shouldn't use this, but for some reason I'm not using it as much now. What I would use this for is if I wanted to just map out the whole day ahead of time. So I would generally do this the night before, just to kind of see, like, get a feel for the day and kind of get an idea of how I would fit in all the things that I wanted to fit in. My cousin obviously has a timeline, so I could use that, but I liked using this to like kind of incorporate the work things and the non-work things and just see them all together, and also to put in a top 3 list. So I find this just to kind of be really satisfying, and I am still using it occasionally, but just not as often. So this is my daily planner. That's the last of the planners, the niche planners. Then we move on to the last category of book, which is the journals. So you can see I've got quite a few journals here. This one is my A6 English Hobonichi, which I have been using now for, this is the 2nd year that I'm using this as a journal. And this is just like basically a kind of stream of consciousness journal. I call it my CBT journal because I did a course of CBT last year, and I'm trying to incorporate what I learned in the CBT sessions in this. So basically, if I come to the journaling session with something that I'm stressed about, it's usually work related, like I'm really worried about, you know, like not having enough time to do all of the tasks that I have at work, then I'll try to use this to like kind of ask myself questions to turn it around. So I'll say like, okay, you're worried about like having to write this review and complete this abstract and finish this article and like blah, 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 blah. Can I do anything about that today? And if so, then what's the practical thing I'm going to do after I finish this session? And if no, then don't worry about it today. There's no point worrying about it today. What can you do about it tomorrow? And I'll try to come up with like practical things to sort of turn around my brain from focusing on the panic to just focusing on what I can actually do and not worrying about the rest. If I don't have a particular thing that I'm worrying about, then I'll just use this to write about whatever is on my mind at the time. So like I said, really just kind of stream of consciousness, and it's a perfect space because it's a bit less than A6 because you've got the quote at the bottom and this at the top, and so it doesn't take that long, but it's enough to kind of feel substantial, you know, like you're actually having a proper journaling session. So I really like that, and I do actually like the fact that this is dated because it means that I will be guaranteed to do it every day. My next journal is an A6 5-year Techo from Hobonichi in the Bloom cover, also from Hobonichi. And I have been using this one for 2 and a bit years. This is the 3rd year. So I started it in the beginning of 2018. And I use this for noting down highlights of the day. So I write down some things that happened during that day on the left. So it doesn't have to, like, I try to make it the most memorable things, but it's kind of a mix of, you know, like work stuff that I've done, just like random things that happened during the day. If there was a memorable event that happened, you know, like to do with the world, I can sometimes write that down, although sometimes I forget. And then on the right, I write down, I started off writing down 5 things I was grateful for, and then this year I kind of switched it, or maybe halfway through last year, to writing down my favorite things that happened during the day. So sometimes there's a bit of overlap between the 2 sides, and other times like they're completely different things. And then I'll note down if there is something like particularly eventful happening on that day. So normally I would write down if I'm away, and then this year I've been writing down lockdown. So like since we started the lockdown, so that I can look back I mean, who knows what, it's just hard to imagine what the future will look like at this point, but, you know, so that I can see, it's been nice to look back over the past 2 years and see exactly what I was doing on that day. And so that's how I use this. And then I have another 5-year Techo. This is an A5 one again, and this is kind of a violation of my self-imposed rule that I never have more than one of the same type of planner. So, for example, like I've learned through experience that somehow for me it doesn't seem to work well to have two of, like, say, 2 different Hobonichi weeks or 2 different Hobonichi A6 planners. I don't know why, but for some reason I like to just have one of each type of planner. Partly I think it's because then I, you know, as a planner addict, I get to experience more different types of planners, and partly somehow, like, my brain automatically, if I have 2 of the same one, it kind of picks a favorite, and then the other one it just kind of rejects, and then that planner doesn't work out well. So it's really odd. Don't know if anyone else has experienced the same planner phenomenon, but that is what led me to make that rule. But with this, because the Fat Hobo is just covered in stickers, it has a very different feel to this one. This one I don't use with stickers at all. So this is like really kind of slimline, but still chunky. And this just, you know, it's kind of a unique beast. So I really wanted to have an A5 5-year Techo that just didn't have any stickers in it, because I like the chunky feel of it. This is in a Choose to Do cover, by the way. I will leave that link down below, although this is their Holo edition, which was for their anniversary, and I'm not sure if these are still on sale, but it's really cool. So in this, I just use this for a mix of different kinds of positive lists. So in the morning, when I get up, because I find it really difficult to get up, I am like just such a night owl, and mornings are like the worst time of day for me. So as a kind of incentive, I get up and then write a list of things that I'm looking forward to for the day. And then I write a list of things that I'm grateful for. And this is the perfect space for it, because I feel like the A6 would be a little bit too small, but this one is just right. And then later in the day, I'll write down a list of vision. So things that I want to do, or like that I'm worried about happening, I'll write down as if they worked out, and that kind of makes me feel a bit better about it and like sort of more positive about it. And then on the right, I write down accomplishments, normally for the day, but sometimes recently I've started also incorporating accomplishments from previous days so that I can remind myself things that I've done, because I usually have this feeling that, you know, like I'm no good and I haven't achieved enough, and, you know, like I haven't done anything. And so I like to try to kind of remind myself of the things that I have managed to do. And this is really nice because, again, it only takes a couple of minutes and it kind of gives me a very positive feeling. And then last but not least is the Let's Plan Forever. So this is like kind of between an B6 and an A5 size, and it's from Let's. I bought this at PlannerCon Europe last year. And it's an undated daily planner. So the idea is that you could use this for you know, memory keeping or for daily planning, and it can go for an unspecified number of years. And I just thought that that was really cool. So I started off by using it to record things like birthdays and anniversaries, and then I started using it to record eventful things that happened on that day and noting down the year, so that I can use this over and over again. And this is really, I guess, a similar idea to the A6 5-year Techo, except that this one is more of a shared one between me and James. So I will write one thing per day, and sometimes not even one thing. So sometimes, you know, a few days will go by when I don't write anything in it, and then I'll write something in it and we both agree, like, what's something that we should write in the Let's Plan Forever? And then I'll write that down, and then the idea is that the next year we come back to that and we can see, oh, last year this happened. So since around the middle of March, this has kind of turned into a coronavirus tracker, and I'm writing down all of the things that happened, like when we went into lockdown, and, you know, like the number of cases, because that's on our minds, and, you know, I can't help thinking about it. So it's somehow has kind of helped me to be able to write it down in this, because it can be hard to remember, like, you know, like they, you know, the saying that it's like that March, you know, like it was a very long decade. So I kind of feel like it's hard to remember even where we were a few weeks ago. And so, you know, like I wrote down the day when we started teaching online instead of in person, and the day when the universities closed, and or my university closed, and stuff like that. But then I also write down other like small things that I think I might like to remember, like I lost my earrings on a trip to the supermarket somehow, and so I ordered some new earrings because I realized that I fiddle with my earrings a lot and I couldn't really function without them, and my new earrings came, and so I wrote that down because I thought that would be kind of cool to remember. And so that's what I use this for. So it's very sporadic. This is not an everyday thing, but it's still a really nice part of my planner lineup, and I love how it has such a satisfying chunky feel. So that is my entire planner and journal lineup. So as you can see, I've got 4 journals, 3 kind of specific niche planners, and then 3 everyday planners. So it's quite a stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But I feel like each one has its specific use. Most of them I don't use very much. Like, it only takes me a couple of minutes a day to fill them in, or I just go to them as and when, like as I need them. It's really just these ones that I'm kind of in and out of all the time, and mostly this one. My work planner is, I would say, probably what I use 80 to 90% of the time, and then, you know, these 2 are really just more as and when as well. So yeah, that's my current planner lineup and journals. Thank you so much for watching. I you know, wish you all health, and, you know, like, stay safe and take care, and I will be back again soon. Bye!